Yesterday, two major AI models dropped, GLM 4.7 and MiniMax 2.1. We already tested GLM on some coding tasks yesterday, and thanks to all of you, like the first video on the channel, more than 1,000 views, absolutely insane. Also, thanks for all the comments. And one comment stood out, which was, can you consider testing for which generates better and beautiful front-end UI, like landing pages, dashboards between GLM 4.7, MiniMax M2.1 and Opus 4.5. So that's exactly what we are doing today. We use the same prompt, same conditions, but I also added Gemini 3 Pro into the mix. So we have 4 models and 5 different front-end tests. And one thing was very interesting. One of the models failed miserably. It was slower than the others and more expensive, and the UI, well, did not work all the time. So quite interesting there. Let me know in the comments what you think. Who of the 4 models will be our winner today with the best UI, and who do you think flopped? Before we go into the first result, I just want to tell you that all the models were tested in Claude code aside from Gemini. So no MCPs, no skills, no plugins. And then Gemini 3 was tested in anti-gravity. So you know what we actually compare. After all of the versions we compare, I will show you how long they took for each task and how many tokens they were used. And at the end, we will look at what the total cost of all of this was. First prompt that we used, and I will put them into the description as well. Create a new folder, build a landing page for an architect that has the goal of converting into leads. Customer puts in his name and email, modern, clean design, HTML, create the best landing page possible, reaching the most conversions. We will always start with Claude 4.5, then Gemini, then GLM, then MiniMax. For the Opus version here, I like the clean design. There's no image, so I'm not the biggest fan of this one, to be honest. But we have then some testimonials, we have the services, we have featured projects, and this is already the end. I was quite disappointed, to be honest, because usually Opus does a better job with creating all the necessary sections, so that's actually a cohesive, a very good page that also leads into conversions. So I was quite disappointed here. From a visual standpoint, looks good to me. Nothing where I would be like, wow, really mind blown, but it looks really good. It's not like AI slop. So from this side on, it's good. Still not a pass for me because the content is not enough. Then we have the second version, Gemini Pro. And you can already see like this looks much better in the hero section, especially with the image in the back. This was generated by Nano Banana. When you have anti-gravity, it does this as well. And then when we scroll down, we have selected works. We have more here, but this is already the end of the page. So this is actually a big fail for me for this task because like this will not convert. This page just, it doesn't even feel like it's done. There is so much work to do. And I see this a lot of times with Gemini 3 Pro that it's actually lazy, to be honest. Yeah, it's not doing what it's actually necessary. The hero section always looks good and it looks amazing here, but there's not enough content. And even when you tell it to think about it and so on, it's still not doing it. So that's really, well, I don't like this about Gemini. When we look at the GLM result, I really like this version, I have to say. Looks also more finished than the others, to be honest. We have more content. We have the featured projects with images here. So this is also pretty cool. We have the testimonials, how we work, ready to start. I would still say this is not enough content if you want to convince a customer. So it's not the best version for actually converting, but we have a good foundation, I would say. Also like the design. Here you could definitely argue the alignment. It's so much to the left. There's so much space here. But overall, also the next sections I really liked. So this was pretty cool, this version. GLM 4.5. If you look at this, I have to say this is the most that looks like AI, to be honest. It's not really mind blown. It's not the best UI. I would say it's still good, you know. I think that you can still use this. Of course, we me and also the people that are watching those videos, we have way higher standards when it comes to this, but this is a website that would work. And no complaints in this regard. But still, if we just look at the designs, it's definitely not on par with the others. We can look at the time it took. The fastest were Claude and MiniMax, 1 minute 38 seconds, and the tokens, the least that were used was actually MiniMax as well. So at least in this regard, it won. The slowest one here was GLM, which was really surprising to me. It also used the most tokens. This is not something that happened also in the other tasks. So I'm not sure what happened here. Could just be by chance. But Claude's speed actually surprised me. Claude Opus speed is actually, when you not just look at tokens per second, but actually real world outcome, it's actually quite fast. And we will look at this also with the other tests. Test number 2, create a new folder, build an analytics dashboard for a SaaS product, show charts, stats, recent activity, and a sidebar navigation, dark mode, HTML. And this, I can already tell you, is quite similar between the 4. I really like the generation of Opus 4.5 here. It's interactive, it looks really nice. Of course, we can't really do much more here since it's just the dashboard that it's done. But I really like it visually. So when we compare to Gemini 3, I would really like to know what you think about it. I think the Opus version here is better, but the Gemini version is not bad. You can still use it. It's still better than most B2B software actually out there. Then we look at GLM. I really like this generation, also with the hover colors and so on, with graphs. Honestly, my favorite out of the 3 we have seen. Looks really nice, but again, all those 3 are quite similar. And GLM here is the last one. Say again, this is the most AI-like, I would say, because of the emojis and how it looks in general. It lags a bit behind the others in terms of design. For me, the best one was GLM. When we look at the times and the tokens used, also GLM was the fastest. And this used 23,000 tokens, which was much less than Gemini and Claude. But also they took like 2 minutes and a bit. So it was not that long. But of course, they used more tokens and they have higher prices already. So this makes a big difference. For me, the winner in this test was GLM. Number 3, create a new folder, build a mobile app UI for a sneak or shopping app. Show product grid, filters, and a product detail view. Mobile viewport only, HTML, create the best design possible. This is Opus 4.5. I love this design, but this might just be because of the colors. This orange is looks really, really cool. We have the grid. You can see we also have the detail view, which works nice, but we can see down here, for example, is an issue. There's overlapping. This is not working properly and has to be changed. I mean, the images, this is just because of the images it shows. You know, if there were images without background, this would look even cooler. But just imagining this would actually be a really, really cool design. Then Gemini 3. Yeah, you actually see what you see. Not much. I have to tell you, I already gave it 2 prompts. Like this was not a one shot. I actually tried to repair it one time because in the first prompt there was no CSS afterwards. So I tried to fix it. It didn't properly. I mean, it looks better actually. You have not seen the other one, but it's still not the proper result. So this was a complete fail. Very disappointing. Not much to say. Then we have the GLM version. Again, looks pretty cool. Also, I mean, it's still similar, you know, to what we've seen with Opus. We also have a detail view here. One issue I would say is that the image is not to the edge. This could look better, but overall, pretty cool here. Also with some additional information that it added. Also really nice. I like the design definitely. And when we look at MiniMax, this one I really liked. actually. I'm usually more of a dark theme person, but this one I really enjoyed, especially when we look at the detail page. Like, I really like this detail page. This looks pretty. We can again change the sizes and so on. We have a description. We have an add to cart. Yeah, this generation from GLM, from MiniMax, was much better than the others, for example. And yeah, really like this one. It was not choosing the right images all the time, but it's just prototyping, right? So doesn't really matter. If we look at the time and tokens, Gemini used 4 minutes 25. Without the second try, it was 3 minutes 25, and in total 47,000 tokens for nothing, to be honest. Fastest one was GLM again. The least tokens again was MiniMax, also very interesting. And yeah, I mean, if you take all considerations into account, then MiniMax was very strong showing here. But of course, Claude looked really nice, though it used more tokens, and you know the price of Claude is way higher. So yeah, might decide also on a budget maybe. Number 4, create a new folder, build a portfolio website for a UI designer. Include hero section, project gallery with hover effects, about section, and contact form. HTML, create the best design possible. Claude, I feel like there's something missing here, to be honest. Like, does there need to be an image or like a background image? I don't know what's happening there. And then we have the selected. It's okay. It's nothing mind blowing, to be honest. We have hover effects. I think the colors make it worse, the placeholders, but of course it would look better with the images. But still, I'm not really impressed by it. Like, it doesn't look so professional to me personally. We have the About Me section, similar thing, to be honest. Not really convinced. And also the contact form at the end. I'm not the biggest fan of this generation of Opus, and I'm used to way better results, I have to say. Then Gemini 3. This one, yeah, I mean, you can see it for yourself. When we look down, we also have the selected work with the hover effects. The About Me section doesn't even have an image. If we scroll through the page, and I really have to say to you, like, this is a complete fail for me. Absolutely disappointing. This is not a good page. I would just completely scrap it and do it again. And when we look at how long it took, it will be even crazier. But just from the looks, already failed. We will talk about the time when we've seen the other two. GLM here, interesting enough, the same issue like Opus. I was not sure what's happening here. And when I saw this featured project section, I was like, did I use the wrong model? Like, is this Opus again? And I have to double check it, but it was actually GLM 4.7, but it looked quite similar, yeah. The About Me section is a bit better actually than Opus, but I feel like very similar to Opus. Still a bit better, but yeah, it's still not mind-blowing to me. Then we have MiniMax at the end. Pretty cool animations here. Actually, a proper hero section. When we compare it to the others, we have the project section here. We have About Me. We have scrolling effect here, which is pretty cool. For me, this was actually the best result with the features shown, how it looks. I don't know. It was a bit weird. I expected way more from the other models. I don't know what to say about this one, but yeah, this is actually what. So let's look at the times. Gemini took 9 minutes. It was actually running into an error and correcting it, and used 62,000 tokens, and still the result looks really bad. I don't know what happened there. Like, this was actually terrible. And maybe you guys, I'm sure there are people out there that are really big fans of Gemini. Please tell me, are you using Gemini CLI? Like, how are you coding with, again, I used anti-gravity, official product from Google. So I expected better, but again, this was a complete fail. Absolute disaster here compared to the others. Claude was actually the fastest one, which was very interesting. GLM 3 minutes, Claude less than 2 minutes, was pretty fast. But yeah, Gemini was a disaster. Last task, we have create a new folder, build a food delivery app UI, show restaurants listings, menu items with images, and a cart sidebar. Modern appetizing design, HTML, create the best design possible. Opus 4.5, good modern design, just reminds me of exactly those companies, to be honest. The categories are not working, also the restaurant's not, but I mean, it was a very short prompt, so we can't really hold it against Opus. You can add the different products. It's working. You can remove them. Works properly. Looks good to me. So this was actually a good result. We have Gemini 3. Again, categories and restaurants are not working, but we can add products. We can do more. We can do less. Looks very good to me. I especially like the top here, even more than with Opus. Also, the rest looks, yeah, just what you would expect, to be honest. Then we have GLM, and again, I was like, why is this so similar to Opus? Was really interesting to me. We have the different categories, nothing happening there. We have the different restaurants, and then you get into the products. So this is the first one that's actually working how it's supposed to be for such. So I really like this one, to be honest. So, I mean, functionality is there. So that's great, but this is actually how it should be. So I was surprised that GLM did more and a better result. And we will also then look at how long it took compared to the others. The last result is MiniMax. Not really impressed with this one. It's working with the functionality here. You can add stuff and so on. You can remove it. That images are not always working. I mean, it's fine because it's just it's not taking actual images. But yeah, I was not really impressed, and this reminded me again of the other results where MiniMax was lacking behind. So yeah, the results here, and Gemini took 5 minutes, which was pretty crazy. I don't know what's wrong there. 42,000 tokens again. Compared to the result, it was very similar to the others, but took way longer. I don't know. That's actually really bad. The best result here, GLM, 1 minute 57, 27,500 tokens. Good, I have to say. I really like the GLM result here. So let's look at the cost results. We have the token usage. The most tokens used was Gemini through all 5 tests. 223,000 tokens. Then we have Claude Opus. Then we have GLM 4.7. Then we have MiniMax M2.1, which is, of course, very interesting for the price because we can see the most expensive one was still Claude Opus, more than $1.27. Gemini Pro was 72 cents. And when we look at the other two, our open source models, 8 cents for GLM and 5 cents for MiniMax. If money is no issue, right? I would still see Claude Opus in front. But if in any way you're looking for price to performance, then GLM for me is the winner. This is the best out of the 4 that you can choose, especially if you look at the pricing with the coding plan. You can get the light version 3 months for $8.10. And I have a link in the description where you get even 10% off of this. And I mean, the one that I would usually recommend would be the quarterly pro version, $40. Absolutely amazing. I have the quarterly max version. And yeah, I mean, you can start just $3 a month just to test it out. Absolutely cool. So I can just recommend it. Again, if money is absolutely no issue, Opus 4.5 do the $200 max plan with Anthropic. I had it as well. I know that, or at least I read a lot online that people have a lot of success with using GLM as the main coder. And then if something isn't working properly, they use a Claude Pro subscription to then fix it or tell it how to do it. This could actually work. Let me know in the comments if you're using such a combination, for example. And also, if you liked the video, please leave like a second video on the channel. Let me know in the comments all the tests you want to see. We can test way more. And I'm happy to try it out for you guys so we can see what is the actual best model. I use a lot of different models as well, but I have to say GLM 4.7 is quite convincing at the moment. It came out yesterday, of course. So let's see how the response from Anthropic, for example, will be. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. We will see us in the next video.